All right, today we're tackling a big one, Thelema. It's a spiritual philosophy that's as notorious as it is influential. And what's really fascinating is that its story doesn't start with some ancient tradition lost to time. Nope. It all kicks off with a single, incredibly dramatic revelation right at the dawn of the 20th century. So, let's get right to the heart of it. Here it is. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. This is the core phrase. It's the most famous and probably the most misunderstood sentence in all of Thelema. I mean, at first glance, it sounds like a recipe for total chaos, right? A free pass for pure self-indulgence. But as we're about to see, the real meaning is, well, it's a whole lot deeper and way more demanding. So is that what it is? A license for anarchy? Is it really just a call to do whatever you feel like, consequence-free? Or is there something more going on here? Well, to really get it, we have to go back. We need to look at the history, the origin of this law, and the man who claimed to have received it. Okay, so to understand the law, you first have to understand the man, Aleister Crowley. Now, this was a figure who was, as reviled as he was revered. His entire life was basically one long rebellion against the world he was born into, a world of really strict, dogmatic religion.
And you can see the perfect storm for that rebellion brewing right from the start. He was born into the Plymouth Brethren, a really fundamentalist Christian sect. His upbringing was so rigid, so suffocating, that his own mother started calling him the Beast from the Book of Revelation. Yeah. So, when his father died, he completely rejected Christianity and started this epic search for something else, a search that led him straight into the arms of the esoteric orders of the day.
And this is where things get really interesting. He joins the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. And you gotta understand, this wasn't some vague, fluffy mystery club. It was a serious school for ceremonial magic. It was here that Crowley learned the systematic approach of Kabbalah and the rituals that would literally become the building blocks for his own work later on. It gave him the framework he needed to turn his rebellion into a whole new system. All right, so let's jump forward to the pivotal moment. The scene is Cairo, 1904. Crowley is on his honeymoon with his wife Rose, and it's here, in Egypt, that his entire background in the esoteric suddenly transforms into a new prophecy, one that would completely change the course of his life and the lives of countless others. The story of what happened next is, well, it's pretty remarkable. His wife Rose, who normally had zero interest in this stuff, suddenly enters a trance-like state. She starts telling Crowley that they are waiting for him. She identifies the Egyptian god Horus as the source. So she leads him to a museum, to a specific funeral stele, an artifact. And this is the kicker, the detail that sealed the deal for Crowley. The exhibit number for this artifact was 666, the number of the beast his mother had called him. For him, this was it. This was an undeniable sign. And what followed wasn't just some fleeting vision. It was a systematic revelation. For 3 straight days, April 8th to the 10th, at precisely noon, Crowley heard a voice, and he wrote down everything it said. This voice called itself Aiwass, and the text it dictated is known today as Liber vel Legis, or simply the Book of the Law. This short, incredibly cryptic book declared the end of one age for humanity and the dawn of a new one, the Aeon of Horus, an era of individual freedom and self-realization. So what did this book actually say? What's the core philosophy that came out of these, well, pretty dramatic events? Let's break down the main principles. And this is where that famous line, "Do what thou wilt," gets completely redefined. It's not about hedonism, not at all. The true will is seen as your unique, divine purpose in life, your deepest nature. The whole point, the great work as it's called, is to discover that will and then carry it out. That's considered the highest duty of every single person. Then you have this second axiom, love is the law, love under will. This really refines the first part. It suggests that every action, every connection you make has to be guided by that true will. Love is the force that unites everything, sure, but that union has to be in harmony with your true purpose, not just based on some random impulse. And this really gets to the heart of the huge paradigm shift that Thelema was announcing. It's this move away from what it calls the Aeon of Osiris, an age of dying gods, suffering, and self-sacrifice. Think traditional religion. And it's a move towards the Aeon of Horus. This new age is all about the sovereign individual, someone who's guided by their own inner authenticity, not by some external dogma. But, a philosophy is pretty useless if you can't actually apply it.
And Thelema isn't just a belief system, it's a practical one. And that system is brilliantly codified in a book called Liber 777.
Now, don't think of this as a book you read from cover to cover. It's more like a tool. It's a kind of universal filing system for symbols. Crowley used the Kabbalistic tree of life to connect everything you can possibly imagine. Gods, planets, colors, plants, scents, you name it. And the whole point was to elevate magic to what he called a science and an art.
So here's how that works in practice. Let's say a magician wants to perform a ritual to invoke the energy of Mars. They'd look it up in Liber 777 and see that the corresponding color is red and the tarot card is the Tower. This way, they can design rituals that are internally consistent and symbolically way more powerful.
And all this systematic thinking leads directly to a disciplined practice. A perfect example is something called Liber Resh. It's a simple 4-part adoration of the sun that you perform throughout the day. This little ritual aligns the person with the cycles of the cosmos, and it acts as a constant reminder of that great work we talked about.
So, to wrap it all up, Thelema is really a complete, coherent system. You can see the whole story, right? It starts with a rebellion against dogma, it crystallizes in a prophetic revelation, and it results in this disciplined path of self-discovery, all backed up by a logical, almost scientific system of magic.
And in the end, the history and philosophy of Thelema leave all of us with a really fundamental question. If you look past all the controversy and the complex symbolism, it challenges us to think about this. What is our own unique purpose, our own true will, and what would you actually do if you found it?